of epic showdowns.
Where are you going?
Don't put your hands on me. You put your hands on my husband.
Leave me alone!
What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sistas. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sistas. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sistas fans, hope you're doing well. We are going to be talking about the parking garage showdown, or should I say throwdown, that's going to occur in next week's episode entitled Catching Fade. And it looks like, Andi's about to catch the bitch slap to the face from Jasmine. And the question is, what's going to happen? So, before going further in the video, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Also, go ahead and hit subscribe because remember, I'm trying to get the viewership percentage up. So basically, I want as many subscribers to watch my content as possible. Sadly, almost 80% of my views come from non-subscribers. So if you are a frequent viewer, hit subscribe. And if you subscribed, watch the content. That's all I'm asking. Trying to get to at least 40% by the end of the month. So hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And go ahead and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, is Andi going to die? No, that's not going to happen. Will Jasmine die? No, I don't really think so. It's like, why would you just bring her back for a one-off appearance and then boom, kill her off? Even though they kind of did that with Jean in the Oval, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. So it was a pleasant surprise to see Jasmine at the very end because that one scene pretty much saved a very awful episode. I gave Sistas last night a 2 out of 10. Yes, it was that bad. Only 2 scenes gave the score higher than a 0. This one scene when Jasmine popped up at the end, and the one scene where Danny told Sabrina and Karen, "Oh, you're asking why I'm quiet? Well, I tried to say the same things that you were saying now, back at the bank when Gary left and took the money, and I am literally saying, Andi deserves better, but y'all told me to shut up." So those 2 scenes alone were the only scenes I actually cared about in the last episode. So, I think it's ironic things are not going to go well for Andi, not just because it's 3-on-1, but also the fact that, remember, she has the wedding ring on her finger and can't take it off. So Jasmine's going to be really pissed off about that. I'm not curious about the fight per se. I'm more curious about whether or not what Gary was saying was true. You're probably asking the question, well, why is Jasmine there trying to fight Andi if she signed those divorce papers and whatnot? Well, what is she trying to fight Andi for? That's a valid question because if she goes through with what her plan is, she's going to be hit with a ton of lawsuits. So, I mean, you could argue that Jasmine just doesn't give a damn at this point, which honestly, based off what she did with Gary's car and pouring his mother's urn in the gas tank and whatnot, she just doesn't care. That's plausible. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where, I don't want to say bad writing. It's just like, I feel like with Jasmine popping up, are we going to find out some truths and also find out about Gary's lies? Because if you go back to season 1 of Sistas, it's like, as the story progressed, the more we saw of Jasmine, the more we learned about the lies she was telling on Gary. But then in season 2, it's like we're really seeing more of what Jasmine was saying to be true. Like, the isolation, the manipulation, the control, the abuse. We were seeing a lot of that. So I'm very curious as to whether or not we're going to find out about that during the scenes next week. Like, again, I honestly don't care about the fight because, again, it's 3-on-1. It's going to be an Andi stomp down. But the question is, will somebody save her? Gary said he was about 30 minutes away, from the job. But we don't know how close Andi was to work when she had called Gary. So basically, it's like we don't know the time frame from when she was in her vehicle to when she got to work. And then Jasmine popped out because, again, this really just harkens back to the original parking garage scenario where Gary's going to his car. Jasmine pops up out of nowhere. They get into a altercation, and then she ends up flung off the parking garage roof. So in this case, Andi gets to work, she's coming out of her car, and then Jasmine pops up out of nowhere with two girls. So it's really strange how these similar scenes are happening. And not to mention the Gary and Jasmine brawl in the parking garage happened a couple of episodes before the finale, and the same thing is happening here. Also, I'm no expert in this, but I don't think Jasmine should have been able to make a full recovery by now. She's been out of commission since the end of season 1, and she looked pretty banged up. So now she's back, and remember, it's only been a few, and I mean, I know it's been more than like 2. It's been a few days since she was flung off that car. I mean, flung from the parking garage on the top of that car. So I don't think she should be able to move around like that. I mean, look, I took certain liberties by not really complaining about the fact that the barbershop crew and Coming to America were still alive after all these years, because it's supposed to be funny. But in this show, I'm just like, is this why she decided to get 2 other girls with her, because she knows she's not in full condition to take on Andi by herself? I don't really know. Honestly, I'm just glad to see Jasmine back, but it just seems really weird and awkward. So, but yeah, I think the most interesting part is the fact that, that ring is still on her fingers, so that's going to make Jasmine even more pissed off. But I can see Andy's like, well, he said you signed the divorce papers. I didn't sign shit. Or, I signed it, but I don't give a crap. You're the one that took my husband away. So it just feels weird, especially after what Leslie said in season 1 about all this being a setup and Andi being a scapegoat. So is Jasmine pissed off because of her plan with Morris failing, so she has nothing to lose? And is that why she's going after Andi? Not to mention, is Fatima going to show up and save her? Is Hayden going to show up? I mean, somebody has to be there to help Andi because she's screaming and everything. So something's going to occur to save her. I mean, now will be as good as time as any. Now that I think about it, maybe Sabrina was right. It's like she said, let's go over to the job right now. So if the sisters would have went over to see Andi when Sabrina suggested it, there may have been a chance or that they would have arrived in time to help. Because I think Maurice, said something about Sabrina not knowing how to fight, but she did, go at it with Alonzo in the bar back in season 1 after she found out what he did that put Maurice in the hospital. So, I don't know. Danny ready to throw down anytime. So, her and Karen, they would do it. But I mean, Sabrina, you better not count her out. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how things play out. And I think someone or something is going to save Andi. But remember, Jasmine went after Andi first. Who's to say she won't kind of come after Gary in the same way? So you just never know. I feel like Jasmine popping up this close to the finale is not a coincidence. Something big is going to go down. That's all I got to say. All right, guys, but that's all I have for this particular video here. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you excited? I know that you all are excited because you've been asking all season, Jeremy, where's Jasmine? When is Jasmine going to show up? Well, she's back and it's about to go down. I think my favorite part, I think I mentioned this in the trailer breakdown or in the episode review from last night, but my favorite part wasn't seeing Jasmine. It was one of her girls, like you could see her putting on the gloves because like, oh damn, this is about to get real. They ready to fight. My question, who do you think is going to remove the earrings and shoes first? I don't know who, but it's going to get real. All right, guys, that's all I got. So if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.